The winter forecast just flipped upside down. What meteorologists are seeing in the data right now has only happened twice in the last 30 years. And both times, it led to historic winter storms that nobody saw coming. Your Christmas plans? They might need to change. Stay with me for 30 seconds, and I'll reveal the exact week in January when everything changes. Right now, a monster low-pressure system, 970 millibars, is hammering eastern Canada. Snow falling at over an inch per hour, winds gusting to 50 miles per hour. But that's not the story. The story is what's building behind it. Here's your reward at 30 seconds. The third week of January, January 15th through 22nd. This is the window when winter roars back with a vengeance. Mark it on your calendar. But why? That answer comes at the 3-minute mark, the most critical part of this forecast. An atmospheric river is about to pummel Northern California. This 7 to 12 inches of rain between now and Monday. Flash flood warnings already posted. The Weather Prediction Center calling this a slight risk event. That means significant flooding is likely. But here's the shocking twist. While California drowns, the eastern United States is about to experience one of the warmest Christmases in recent memory. We're talking 45 degrees above normal in some areas. 45 degrees. Let me say that again. 45 degrees above average. Genesis chapter 8 verse 22 tells us, as long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease. God promised us seasons, and right now we're witnessing a dramatic shift between those seasons. Two Arctic fronts are racing across North America right now. The first one brought brutal cold yesterday. Minneapolis saw wind chills of -20. That's exposed skin freezing in 10 minutes or less. The second front is building in southern Manitoba. It's weaker, but it's still packing a punch. Another round of sub-zero wind chills coming to the upper Midwest this weekend. Northern Canada, try -50 wind chills. The Yukon and Northwest Territories are about to get absolutely hammered. Lake effect snow is cranking up. Buffalo, Cleveland, Erie, you know what's coming. The lakes are still relatively warm. When Arctic air screams across that warm water, it's a snow-making machine. 6 to 12 inches possible in the snowbelt through Sunday. But here's what the models aren't showing you. A deep snowpack is building in Quebec and Ontario, over 3 feet of snow on the ground in some areas. And that snowpack is about to play a massive role in our January forecast. Now, the 3-minute promise. Let me show you exactly what's happening and why the third week of January changes everything. A ridge of high pressure is building over the central United States. This ridge will dominate through Christmas and into New Year's. It's pushing temperatures 30 to 35 degrees above normal for the final 10 days of 2025. Christmas Eve, December 24th, looks ridiculously warm. 50 seconds and 60 seconds across the middle of the country. The freezing line, 32 degrees, pushed all the way into Canada. Christmas Day, even warmer. Morning temperatures in the 30 seconds and 40 seconds. Afternoon highs in the 50 seconds, 60 seconds, even 70 seconds across the deep south. This will be one of the warmest Christmases in recent memory. If you're dreaming of a white Christmas, you'll need a passport. Canada is the only place with guaranteed snow. The eastern seaboard, mostly dry. The southeast, dry. The ridge is clockwise, pushing moisture west, not east. But wait, here's the plot twist that changes everything. The stratosphere is warming up. Post-Christmas, heading into New Year's Eve, a stratospheric warming event is developing. For weather geeks, this is huge. Stratospheric warming disrupts the polar vortex, and when the polar vortex gets disrupted, Arctic air comes screaming south, not just to Canada, all the way into the lower 48 states. Historical analogs tell the story. January 1996, brutally cold across western Canada. Shots of Arctic air into the eastern United States. Deep snowpack in Russia and Asia drove the pattern. January 2000, also cold. Big temperature swings, but when the cold arrived, it was potent. This January, I'm seeing a mix of both patterns. Warm spells interrupted by blasts of serious cold. And when that cold air unleashes, it could be historic. Proverbs chapter 3 verses 5 and 6 remind us, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight." We can't control the weather, but we can trust in God's plan. Let me break down January week by week. This is critical information. Week 1, January 1st through 8th. Cold in Alaska, cold in western Canada. The western third of the U.S. stays chilly, but the east, still mild. Not a blowtorch, but definitely above average. Winter is playing games with us. Week 2, January 9th through 15th. This is where it gets interesting. Mixed bag, temperature fluctuations, clipper systems moving through the Midwest and Ohio Valley. Maybe a weaker snowstorm or two. Nothing major yet, but the pattern is shifting. Week 3, January 15th through 22nd. The dam breaks, a massive ridge builds near the Bering Strait in Alaska. This pushes Arctic air south, way south. We're talking Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas seeing snow, the Ohio Valley buried. The I-95 corridor in play. By late January, the polar vortex could shift to our side of the hemisphere. When that happens, get ready for nasty cold, the kind that makes national headlines. Polar vortex 2. Now here's something most forecasters won't tell you. The snowpack in Russia and Asia is deeper than normal, way deeper. And that matters because global snow coverage affects jet stream patterns. Deep snow in Siberia equals cold air exports to North America 4 to 6 weeks later. It's happened before, it's happening again. The European model shows this. The American GFS model agrees. The Canadian model is on board. When 3 major models align, we pay very close attention. But models can bust, weather is chaos. A small change in the Pacific can cascade into massive differences here. That's why I'm giving you probabilities, not certainties. What I can say with confidence, the second half of January looks very active for winter weather. Major storms are likely, not just snow, but ice and brutally cold air. California, let's talk about your situation. The Sierras are about to get pounded, heavy snow at elevation. If you're traveling Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, you need snow tires. Chain controls will be in effect on Interstate 80 and Interstate 5. Lower elevations? Flash flooding. Mudslides are a serious concern, especially in recent burn scar areas. The ground is already saturated. Adding 7 to 12 inches of rain is a recipe for disaster. Northern California is ground zero. Rainfall rates could exceed 2 inches per hour at times. Rivers will rise. Creeks will overflow. If a flash flood warning is issued, move to higher ground immediately. The Pacific Northwest continues getting hammered. Seattle, Portland, you've seen over 10 inches of rain this month, and more is coming. Atmospheric river after atmospheric river. It's relentless. But even in the deluge, there's provision. Reservoirs are refilling. After years of drought, this is answered prayer. The snowpack is building. Water supply for next summer is being secured. Isaiah chapter 55, verse 10. As the rain and the snow come down from heaven and do not return to it without watering the earth and making it bud and flourish, so that it yields seed for the sower and bread for the eater. God's provision comes in many forms, even heavy rain. Now, what should you do right now? 4 action steps. First, if you're traveling for Christmas, especially to California, check conditions constantly. Roads can become impassable quickly. Have a backup plan. Second, stock up on essentials before January 15th. That third week of January could bring major travel disruptions. Food, water, medications, 3 days minimum. Third, check your heating system. When that Arctic blast arrives in late January, you don't want your furnace failing. Service it now while there's time. Fourth, help your neighbors, elderly folks living alone, people without transportation. This is what Jesus calls us to do. Matthew chapter 22, verse 39. Love your neighbor as yourself. The Midwest and Great Lakes are about to see temperature whiplash, sub-zero wind chills this weekend, then warming into Christmas week, then Arctic blasts in January. It's exhausting. Wind chill advisories are already posted for Saturday night into Sunday. Yukon, Northwest Territories, Manitoba, you're looking at minus 30 to minus 50 wind chills. Frostbite in under 10 minutes. Bundle up. Layer up. Cover all exposed skin. Quebec and Ontario, your deep snowpack is actually going to enhance the cold. Snow reflects sunlight. It keeps temperatures suppressed. You're sitting on 3 feet of snow in some areas. That's a natural refrigerator. The eastern Great Lakes will see enhanced lake effect snow this weekend. Cold air rushing over warm lake water creates instability. That instability generates heavy snow bands. Some areas could see 12 to 18 inches by Monday morning. Christmas week travel looks good for most of the country, except the West Coast. If you're flying into San Francisco, Los Angeles, Sacramento, expect delays. Heavy rain and low clouds mean flight cancellations are possible. New Year's Eve forecast? Mild for most of the East. 40 seconds and 50 seconds. Maybe some rain showers. Nothing major. It's the calm before the January storm. But that stratospheric warming event I mentioned earlier, it's showing up in multiple models now. The stratosphere is forecast to warm by 20 to 30 degrees Celsius in the next 2 weeks. That's massive. When the stratosphere warms, the polar vortex weakens. Think of the polar vortex as a fence keeping Arctic air locked up north. When that fence breaks, the Arctic escapes, and it heads south fast. Typically, we see surface impacts 2 to 4 weeks after a stratospheric warming event. That puts us right in the 3rd week of January, exactly where I've been telling you to watch. The snow line could drop into Texas by late January. Dallas, Houston, Austin, don't be shocked if you see snowflakes. Oklahoma City, Little Rock, Memphis, you're in the bullseye for potential winter storms. The Ohio Valley and Great Lakes could see multiple back-to-back systems. Snow on Monday, ice on Thursday, more snow the following week. It could be relentless. The I-95 corridor from Washington, D.C. to Boston is also in play. New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore, you haven't seen much this winter. That could change dramatically in late January. Here's something fascinating in the data. Snow coverage across the United States could flip on a dime. First half of January looks mostly rain and warm. Second half, heavy snow coverage from Texas to Maine. Computer models show potential for major snowstorms. Not just one, but multiple systems. The kind that shut down cities. The kind that make you remember where you were when it happened. But I want to be clear, we're still 3 to 4 weeks out. Things can change. Models can shift. But the ingredients are lining up. Deep snow in Asia, stratospheric warming, a ridge near Alaska. These are the building blocks of a major pattern change. Psalm chapter 147 verse 16, he spreads the snow like wool and scatters the frost like ashes. When God decides to send winter, he sends it with authority. So what's the big picture? Enjoy your warm Christmas. Seriously, enjoy it. Spend time with family. Don't stress about the weather. Christmas week looks quiet for most areas except California. But come January, especially after January 15th, things could get wild. Be prepared. Not panicked, but prepared. Stock your pantry. Fill your gas tank. Have flashlights and batteries. Make sure elderly neighbors are okay. These are practical steps of faith. James chapter 2 verse 17 says, "Faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead." We trust God, but we also prepare wisely. For snow lovers, your patience might finally pay off. The second half of January could deliver. For those who hate winter, I'm sorry, but it's coming. The polar vortex disruption is the key. If it happens as models suggest, we're looking at a significant pattern change. Arctic air flooding south, snowline dropping, winter finally showing up. But even if models are wrong, even if January stays mild, we know this. God is in control. His timing is perfect. His plans are good. Romans chapter 8 verse 28. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Even in unexpected weather patterns. One more thing before we close. The data is changing daily. What I'm telling you today might shift by next week. That's the nature of long-range forecasting. But the overall pattern, the stratospheric warming, the historical analogs, they're all pointing the same direction. January 15th through 22nd. 3rd week of January. Circle it. Prepare for it. Don't fear it, but respect it. Check back for daily updates as we get closer. The models will come into better focus. The timing will sharpen. The impacts will become clearer. If you found this helpful, share it. Your family needs to know. Your friends need to know. Your church community needs to know. Information saves lives and prevents disruptions. Stay warm this weekend if you're in the cold zones, stay dry if you're in California, and stay tuned as this pattern continues to evolve. God bless you all. Remember, no matter what January brings, we're not facing it alone. We face it together, and most importantly, we face it with God by our side. The winter forecast just got a whole lot more interesting, and we'll be here every step of the way, helping you navigate what comes next. Be blessed.